from players that is new here, saying that they're going to run a motion style offense. She said she's going to run the ball, take the ball out of Kayla's hands. She said she's going to run and react. Where we at today is Caitlin Clark is currently on the Indiana Fever basketball team with a brand new coach.
Did Stephanie White lie to Caitlin Clark about the offense she planned for the Fever? The coach promised a read and react system that would showcase Clark's talents, the same style that made her a college superstar at Iowa. But now, everything's changing. Veteran players Jania and Natasha Howard joined the team, and suddenly White's talking about a motion offense instead. You know what that means, right? Clark could go from scoring 23 points per game to barely hitting 15. Her MVP chances for 2025 might be over before the season even starts. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Let's talk about what's really going on behind the scenes with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Back in December, Stephanie White made some big promises about the offensive system she planned to run.
At the second half, Christy Sides after that break, she did not run the motion. She had to run read and react. If Stephanie White runs this offense, Caitlin Clark, we lose. The Caitlin Clark we love.
She told everyone that the Fever would implement a read and react offense, the exact same style that turned Clark into a scoring machine at Iowa. It seemed like the perfect plan. White was basically saying, we're bringing in this generational talent and we're going to let her cook the same way she did in college.
Where we at today is Caitlin Clark is currently on the Indiana Fever basketball team with a brand new coach.
But I mean, I'll tell you, but if you just watch my games, not much ever changes. You know, I like to step back going to the left. So yeah, I think, you know, everybody knows what I'm going to do at this point. It's just, I don't know. That's what I always tell myself, is just be you.
Remember those Iowa games? Clark was absolutely unstoppable. She'd bring the ball up, survey the defense, and then either pull up for those logo threes we all went crazy for, or she'd slice through defenses like they weren't even there. That read and react system at Iowa was designed to give her complete control of the game flow. She was the primary playmaker, the ball always in her hands, deciding when to score and when to distribute. And it worked. She was dropping 23+ points night after night while still making her teammates better.
A read and react offense make players around them better, but it's ran through one specific player.
You just watch Debbie Antonelli's videos that she's been putting on Twitter, because I gave an entire scouting report, and that's why I take pride in getting on the defensive glass and pushing the ball, because I just think it's so hard to guard us, especially with the way our 4s and 5s run the floor.
But here's where things get weird. Despite all those promises from White, something fishy is happening at Fever training camp. New information is surfacing that suggests the Fever might actually be implementing a completely different offensive style, one that could seriously limit Clark's impact on the court. Just look at what Sophie Cunningham revealed in a recent interview. She flat out said, "I do love the offense we're going to be playing. It's a motion offense. It's going to be run and gun, kick and shoot lots of threes." Wait, what? A motion offense? That's not what White promised at all. This is the first real evidence that the offensive plans have changed, and it directly contradicts everything White has been saying. You know what makes this so concerning for Clark's future? The fundamental differences between these two offensive systems are massive.
Off the record and on the record with the Indiana Fever coaching style, that is with Stephanie White, what she's going to be running.
The thing that makes it really hard is we run a read and react offense. You never know what's going to happen. We want to get out in transition. But I think for me, the area I want to thrive in is always transition.
In the read and react offense Clark mastered at Iowa, she was the sun that the entire offense orbited around. She controlled the tempo, made the decisions, and had the freedom to create for herself whenever she saw an opening. But a motion offense? That's a whole different game. Just look at teams like the Minnesota Lynx and Connecticut Sun who run this style. In those systems, it's all about constant movement, cutting, spacing, and sharing the ball equally among all 5 players. Nobody dominates the ball. Nobody gets to control the game flow the way Clark did at Iowa. The scoring distribution in motion offenses is typically much more balanced, which means Clark might go from being a 23-point scorer to just another player in the rotation.
She said she's going to run the ball, take the ball out of Kayla's hands. She said she's going to run and react.
You can't scout that. Like, you can try all you want, you can work on actions, but you never know what we're going to do. Because be a basketball player. And that's why people like watching Iowa women's basketball, is because we make reads, we have fun, we play up tempo.
This sudden change didn't happen in a vacuum. The timing of this shift is suspicious, coming right after veterans like Jania Bonner and Natasha Howard joined the team. These are established WNBA stars who are used to getting their touches and having plays run for them. Is it possible that White is secretly changing her offensive plans to accommodate these veterans, even if it comes at Clark's expense? The evidence is pointing in that direction. It looks like White might be bowing to pressure from the vets on the team, pulling a complete 180 on the offensive system she promised would showcase Clark's talents. This is a major betrayal if true, bringing in a generational talent like Clark and then changing the entire system that made her special in the first place.
From players that is new here, saying that they're going to run a motion style offense.
And I think that's the best way to play basketball, is you're just making reads, you're using your brain. And Coach Butter says, just be a basketball player, don't be a robot.
Think about what this means for Clark's game. At Iowa, she had the green light to shoot from anywhere, anytime. She was the primary ball handler making the key decisions. But in a motion offense, she'll be expected to give up the ball, move without it, and settle for whatever shots the flow of the offense creates for her. Her usage rate is going to plummet. Her shot attempts will likely drop significantly. And her ability to control games, the very thing that made her a must-watch player, could vanish overnight. For a rookie with MVP aspirations and the weight of bringing new fans to the WNBA, this offensive switch could be devastating. Clark didn't come to the WNBA to be just another cog in the machine. She came to be the same kind of game breaker she was in college. But how can she do that if the offensive system forces her to play a completely different style? Let's be real here. The numbers don't lie. If White fully commits to this motion system, Clark's scoring potential gets cut almost in half. We're talking about a generational talent who might get relegated to just another piece in the system instead of being the system itself. The relationship between Clark and White is headed for a crossroads. Will Clark accept a diminished role to fit into this team-first approach, or will she push back for the offensive freedom that made her a superstar? What's your take? Should the Fever build their entire franchise around Clark's unique abilities, or is sacrificing her MVP potential for team success the smarter long-term strategy? Drop your thoughts below.